going back to subjective and relative, a lot of people may interpret my manner of handling certain things or of speaking as rude and inappropriate. But I don't live my life based on what other people might think or what their opinions might be. That is not how I live my life. Why not? Because I don't have any control over what your opinions are. I don't have any authority over what your opinions are. I don't have any responsibility over what your opinions are or might be. So I don't take upon myself the responsibility for what other people might think, feel, or their behavior, such as how they react. I don't even concern myself with it. Who are responsible for those things? They are, not me. I'm only responsible for my own thoughts, feelings, reactions, opinions, all these things. If I were to live my life defining everything in my life based on what I think other people's opinions are, whose life would I be living? So if my notions of what is rude or inappropriate are based on what I think your notions of rude and inappropriate are, whose life am I living? I'm living your life, aren't I? I'm trying to be an extension of you. Now, what happens if I myself am the one who determined for myself what is inappropriate or rude? Then I'm living my life, aren't I? I'm living for myself. This is something you might want to write down. It's not my responsibility to not offend people. Now, it might be hard to swallow in today's world, but that's the truth. What is my responsibility? My responsibility is only to not intend to offend. Do you see the difference? A lot of people would say that it's your responsibility not to offend people. Why is that not reasonable? Why is that not based in real life? Well, it's because I'm not other people. I've got no responsibility over their feelings and their thoughts and how their reactions and these sorts of things. I only have control over myself. So if I can't control how you receive a thing, what can I control? I can only control what my intentions are when I say a thing or in my behavior. I cannot control how you feel. I can only control what I intend. So, again, I'll say it's not my responsibility to not offend, because offense is what happens on the other side. It's the responsibility of other people. It's all up to them, how they feel upon me saying a thing. The only thing I have control over is what my intentions are. So, it's only my responsibility to not intend to offend. So that's the principle. I can say anything that I feel needs to be said as long as I do it calmly and I do it with no intent to offend. But people will get offended at anything. There are things I've said in this show that people will get offended at. It's okay. Got no control over that. The only person who has to be pleased with what I've said and the way I've said it is me. Right? And the fact that I did it calmly, with no intent to offend anybody, that's my only responsibility. How a person takes it or receives it, it's not up to me. So there's no such thing as a thing being innately offensive or rude if you think about it. That also is probably hard to believe, but it's true, because it's all relative and subjective. The concept of rude requires some observer. And who's responsible for the way that observer feels upon observing a thing? Is it you? No, you have no power to affect how they think or feel or what their opinions are or anything like that. You have no control over that. You have no responsibility over that. Because it's a subjective thing and I've got no control or responsibility over it all, out of 10 people, 5 might perceive something I say or do as rude or offensive, and the other 5 may not. And none of them are wrong, but neither are any of them right, because it's a subjective thing. It requires an observer and it requires feelings. How do they feel upon observing this thing? So that's something to think about. I'm in no way responsible for their personal opinions, feelings, so forth. They are. And it's a simple matter of interpretation and opinion on the part of any observer. Go back to the ladies in pants question. Is that offensive? Well, it was 100 years ago to lots of people. Was it innately offensive? No, that was still based on opinion. If it were innately offensive, then it would still be offensive to everybody and everything. But do you ever get that? I mean, I can't even turn on the TV these days and not see something offensive. But why is it on TV at all? If it were innately offensive, why is it on TV at all? The only reason it's on TV at all is because it's not innately offensive. There are a lot of people, millions of people, who watch that and go, yeah, I love seeing this sort of thing in my entertainment. While I'm sitting there, me and millions of other people are sitting there going, why did they have to put this in here? That doesn't need to be on TV. You see? So is it offensive? It depends on who you ask, right?